How are you guys?
Very good, very good. You guys going to leave me this week?
Yes, we are on our way to the Zebu Live conference in London. I'm flying in exactly 8 hours, 8 hours and 20 minutes. I will be on a flight to London direct, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to land up meeting Dan. I'm not so sure about that, but yeah, and we are media partners for Zebu Live, which is really cool. So we get to meet some people, interview them. Dan's got the whole itinerary. I have absolutely no idea. I just saw my calendar filling up. I got scared, and I'll obviously catch up at some point.
I've now officially become Jedi's PA overnight. Absolutely mental. We have meeting after meeting. I have scheduled coffee breaks. I have scheduled bagel breaks down at Brick Lane Bagel, and that's definitely a shout out to the best bagel shop in London. But the Brick Lane Bagels, baby. That's
good,
where we're going to be going for lunch every day. You got an important meeting at lunchtime. I know you have because I've set it up, and you guys are going to Brick Lane Bagel, right? It's the biggest partner we have, and we need to show him a real good time in London, right? We're not going to the back corners until at least 5 p.m. Do you know why? Because it's a bit dodgy then. That's when the fun really comes in.
But you've also got some cool stuff lined up, Grant? You've got some peeps
next week. Next week's Token 2049. What's good about what's happened with Zebu is just because we've been chatting to them a lot. There's been a lot that's came through the pipeline just to kind of get talking to, and what I'm seeing is there's an awful lot of ZK stuff coming through. So that's kind of interesting. I think that's quite topical because of, I think we were going to speak about this anyway, but might as well just jump straight into it. Like, Gensler came out and said that Ethereum's now in jurisdiction of the US. So the people who are building the ZK infrastructure obviously lends itself really well to scalability and privacy. So that narrative can't come quick enough, in my opinion. And it was quite nice to see that a couple of emails came through based on the Zebu stuff, just saying, can we have a chat once we get to London? So what do you think about that little orc saying stuff like that?
ZK is going to be the next narrative, ladies and gentlemen. It is coming up. I've got a note here. ZK Sync mainnet is going to be, if I've done the mathematics right, it should release on October 28th, but it's crypto, so you want to go plus or minus at least 2 weeks. So end of October, start of November is when ZK Sync goes to mainnet. That's when I think the big drive behind all of the ZK projects are really gonna come to light with that. That'll be a potential narrative for November.
So
it just makes sense with everything going on at the minute as well. Like,
it
needs to hurry up.
Just to kind of comment on obviously the SEC. Obviously, there's this whole XRP thing that's happening at the moment. I saw yesterday that there was essentially it was a demand by both parties from a federal judge to actually deliver judgment on this case that's been going on for 3 years now, in line with this announcement by the SEC around Ethereum. And it's interesting. So what I find interesting, and I don't know whether it's worth getting into, is that the announcement was made very soon after the whole proof of stake thing. So it's almost like they were waiting for it. It was like, proof of work, we don't really have any jurisdiction around this thing because it's pretty much it's a worldwide network. Everyone's participating, but now we can identify that nodes are predominantly running in the States, and now we can lay claim to this whole thing. The question now is this going to end up biting Ethereum in the ass from a US perspective, or is it going to force node operators, or stakers rather, to relocate outside the United States? I think that this thing is multi-layered, and it looks like it could develop into something really interesting and very challenging for the Ethereum community and the Ethereum network.
It feels like it feels like the SEC are not going to give any full regulatory clarity until the Ripple case is over, and it probably will determine their stance on it based on the outcome. You know, they're not going to. That's kind of how I'm seeing it play out. They've had so long now to. They've had multiple opportunities. Like, was it like Senator? Was it Toomley, the one who's like ultra crypto bull? He's obviously like trading shit coins on the side.
Absolutely.
He's actually great though, because he put Gensler right in his place the other day, and he tied him up in knots on that discussion. And he was just saying, basically saying to him, why are you avoiding using the decentralization word? You're not giving any regulatory clarity around it. People are willing to like work with you on this, but you're just not helping yourselves whatsoever. So I feel like we won't see anything really, black and white until that XRP case is done and dusted, because if they release any more kind of guidelines around it and that's contradictory to their own case that's ongoing, obviously that's not going to happen, is it? So that's when I think we will get that clarity around it, but I don't know, could be wrong. I'm a fucking idiot. So
you know what, I think you're not an idiot, because that's how legal precedent works. There has to be a case that demonstrates a whole lot of stuff in order for legal precedent to develop from that, and they need this case. That's why there's been a demand around this case, particularly from the SEC. They're ready to move. They obviously, the XRP guys want this thing out of the way so that they can continue operating the way that they did beforehand. Whether it is
continue to sell like $300
whatever it
million
might be,
worth,
whether they are guilty of what it is that they've been accused of. That's what needs to be determined right now. It's not really for us to say that, but that needs to be resolved. And then once that happens, my guess is that if it goes against XRP, I reckon Ethereum is going to be up for an interesting fight. This whole narrative, or this whole idea that it's, it isn't a security, I think it's going to change really quickly. Like, is staking now in the States a part of how we are going to define a security within the crypto space? Good Lord, that opens a can of worms. From a regulatory point of view, from individuals who are staking millions of dollars worth of ETH in the States, I suppose they can just move it, and go and move to Portugal. I don't know. It's really interesting what's happening.
Don't tell them to do that. I'll drive the property prices up so I can't afford them.
Do you think they've done good by going to proof of stake then?
Listen, the reality of the situation is, obviously the Bitcoin maxi in me is going to come to the fore here. But the reality is that the Bitcoin network is the most efficient and the most secure network that humanity has ever created. End of story. That's proof of work, sir. That's what proof of work does. It truly is a decentralized, kick-ass network. So from that perspective, I think Ethereum have done a very big mistake here from that perspective. But there's value in other aspects. Hey?
Someone tell me the price of XRP.
Did they? 0.37, I think it is.
What is it? Like 0.1 or something?
No, 0.378.
Fuck. Look at this. So I just typed in. You see that?
That's loading. Oh, yeah. We got the circle going. There we go. We can see it.
Yeah. So this is a Jed. I don't know who Jed is. Jed will be selling.
It's one of the partners. I think he's one of the rogue partners who left, but still holds like a predominant amount.
Yeah. So it's took him 8 years, 1 month, and 25 days since announcing his sale to finally get rid of his 9 billion XRP. So what is it?
9 billion 0.37. But the price obviously fluctuated. He sold probably at $1.30. He's probably sold the whole way.
He sold all the way down. Good lad.
Well, he was the reason why the price went all the way down, bro.
So he's came out with like over $3 billion.
Probably more, Grant, because he probably sold a shit ton when it was over $1.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. If you look at the monthly chart for XRP, it was $1 like
That was 2017, 2018. Yeah.
last April 22. No.
But this is an article from recent. This is well, not recently, but July.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
December last year is when it was $1.
At what point do you when you, even if you join like a community of a project, you feel a little bit guilty of selling something? Like, at what point did he just think, "Oh, fuck it"? Like, I don't care. I really don't care.
Mate, when he worked out the total amount that he was about to get, like dumping 3 billion on your community. Oh, I'm not going to feel too bad. Ooh, 3
as soon as he typed it in the calculator.
But he's no longer associated with it, I don't think. I think he's done. Yeah, I mean, I think he's done. He's no longer part of it, but he's always had like one of the biggest holdings in XRP.
Right. He's got 3 billion in the bank. He don't give a fuck if he's sorry. He don't give a shit if he's like in or out. That's $3 billion in the bank or in your MetaMask on your Google Chrome.
Yep.
But
it won't be on MetaMask because does XRP even work?
No.
Oh, careful. So. Careful. You're going to have the XRP boys after you. They're a dangerous bunch.
I'm pretty sure they're not watching. Talk a little bit too much sense
we'll
with
edit
those
that
guys.
out, okay.
No, we won't. That's interesting though. Lido organizations actually set up in the Caymans. So, at least they should be out of the grubby little mitts of Gensler and crew.
A lot of these companies
to relocate to the Caymans.
Well, you got a number of places where you can go to where you're not going to have any issues. Cayman's always been one of those. Seychelles is another. I think Paraguay. There's a few.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right, big question is do you think now that Ethereum's gone proof of stake, it's going to end up like DOT or KSM or one of those staking style tokens now?
I think there's too much.
Yeah,
I think they've got too much of a moat and they've got too much happening over there. Like the developer activity is huge. The EVM's their killer product, isn't it? Like everyone's like even non-EVM chains. Like the biggest protocols that get a lot of traction and the biggest funding are the protocols that are doing the translationary protocols like your Evmos and things like that. So, no, I think it's the fabric of DeFi, like the EVM and just everything they've built out on top of it. It's got too many legs to not succeed, I think.
What's currently staked in ETH at the moment? It's like 90 bill. Can you just check quickly, Grant? DeFi Llama.
DeFi Llama, by the way, one of the best teams in all of crypto. They just completely bootstrapped absolutely everything, and they're killing it.
Isn't that what we're doing?
Yeah, but we're just a bunch of idiots who talk.
We're just a bunch of idiots. Sorry, dude, I just wanted to find some comparison. Like it'd be nice to be associated with some form of best team of, and we did the bootstrapping part. That's all I was fishing for there. Thanks for ruining it, part. I thought it was more. No, it's 108. Okay, so
yeah, but this.
So for an idiot like me, what do you actually look for here? Okay, so you look for this what's been staked, right? But now, what's the difference between that 108 bill that was there versus the 30 bill on the left, the 35 bill?
The price of
that's at its peak. Okay, that's what's at its peak. Okay, sorry, I didn't realize that you had it on the peak. Okay,
yeah, that's really interesting.
Make a DAO.
Yeah. When did that flip?
The thing is, just think about it, Grant. Like, the guys that are laying the foundation right now are the ones that are obviously going to land up doing the best in the next run, irrespective of how long that takes. And it would seem like the logical thing that, you know, stable coins, you know, it's been spoken about many times that stable coins are, you know, the key to this whole thing. And clearly, based on what we're seeing just on that snapshot, that, you know, the stablecoin boys and girls are getting involved. They're putting their money in here and they're creating the liquidity and they're getting ready. That's what's happening here. You know, same with GMO. They're doing the same thing. You know, obviously, Circle's also got that in mind. What is the current value of stablecoins in the market at the moment? It's at the top left. Would that not be?
Oh yeah, sure.
There, yeah.
152 billion. Yeah. I still stand by my point that stablecoin will flip and be number one.
I think you're 100% right, because at the end of the day, liquidity is king. Liquidity is king, and we're seeing it. We're seeing the effects of not having liquidity in the market at the moment. It takes so little to move the market at the moment, just because there's a lack of liquidity.
I got bullied for saying that at the beginning of the bull run.
Yeah. But people don't understand that, you know. You've got to like live through a cycle or two to understand, you know, how important the concept of liquidity is. Like, people just don't realize it until they're in a trade and, you know, they've got like this amazing P&L and then they sell and then they're paying like, you know, like 2% to slippage. Well, the reason why you pay 2% slippage is because there's no liquidity, sir, and you're contributing to it out of your own back pocket.
Yep. Oh, so just before we jumped on, Wintermute have been hacked for 160 million in their DeFi operations. So these are kind of a CeFi, DeFi, OTC market maker, and I don't know how the hell it's happened, but where's it at? So their CEOs came out. I think this is their CEO. Yeah. So we've been hacked for 160 million now. DeFi operations, CeFi, and OTC operations are not affected. We are solvent with twice over that amount in equity left, so they should have enough to pay back anyone who needs it, but that's not the point. If you have a market making agreement with Wintermute, your funds are safe. There will be disruption now services there potentially for a few days after until we get back to normal. Out of 90 assets that has been hacked, only 2 have been for notional over 1 million, and none will be more than 2.5 million. So there shouldn't be any major sell-off or any sort. We will communicate with both teams affected ASAP. If you're a lender to Wintermute again, we are solvent, but if you feel safer to recall a loan, we can absolutely do that. We're still open to treat this as a white hat, so if you're the attacker, get in touch. Just another week in DeFi, innit?
It really is just another week in crypto, eh?
I don't know how this is like.
How did this happen? I mean, this must have been quite a significant hack for this to happen. I mean, these guys are not noobs.
Yeah, exactly. They're
not noobs.
No, they're one of the biggest market makers in the space. Like, how the hell has it happened? Because I don't know if any protocols went down overnight or anything like that.
Didn't see anything on my feed.
No, exactly. So, God knows. Nobody is safe.
No, not at all. Well, it's interesting. I guess you can go into one of their like wallets on chain and have a look what's going on.
Yeah. You see if anything's coming up. But
so as of like 9 hours ago, on their on chain, like they've got one movement of 225 Ethereum, and then another of almost 7,000 Ethereum. Just jumping around.
What's this guy saying here? So, hacker's address.
Oh, live investigation here.
Investigator. This, like, look at that. They're just on it, aren't they? Like,
Mate, imagine getting that locked.
contract creation.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is live of what you do when you dig deep into people's wallets on chain.
What the fuck's he even doing?
Is he putting it into Curve?
Yeah.
Looks like he is. Why would he do that, though? Why would he do that?
Well, if you place it all into Curve, can he not just withdraw all the DAI from that and then not be able to get blacklisted by USDT or USDC? Like, he's effectively just deployed everything into a stablecoin pool, obviously receives the LP token, and then can withdraw to DAI only, which you can do on Curve. Short maker.
Just essentially trying to wash it in plain sight is what he's doing.
Yeah. I mean, if you're hacking Wintermute, you probably know what you're doing.
Yeah, man, this is huge. This is a huge story.
What's interesting,
So-
he's taken a massive chunk of change, but Wintermute was saying it's going to be no more than like between 1 and 2 million, or 1 and 2.5 million. So he's obviously gone and done either a lot of transactions, or he's managed to take lots of like medium chunks of change from loads of different like protocols then.
God knows what he's done. Be interesting to see like the breakdown when that comes out, but it's it's only just been announced. Did you see what happened wallet of the alleged Wintermute hacker has enough dollar to break at least one of the one trading pair. This is real. Who's going to be left on Curve? Not Luna 2.0 that we wanted. Oh god. Oh shit.
So could he literally just break Curve in one transaction?
Let me check I'll check the try crypto. Where's it at? So, I mean, the pool split for USDT DAI and USDC is 31%, well, 32% DAI, 37% USDC, and 30% USDT. So it's pretty balanced. The only thing is, if he decides now to withdraw all of that 160?
Yeah, 160 mil.
114 he's deposited. So he'll effectively take like 45% of all DAI in that pool. If he withdraws fully to DAI, because you can do that on Curve.
Wow.
So he's definitely gonna imbalance that pool. Maybe short maker.
So should we put a short on Curve now, just in case?
Short maker, I'd say. I mean, stop, it's already dead, like that whole meme, but
that's insane.
Who knows? He could just be holding them ransom and saying, if you don't pay me, I'm gonna try and depeg it. But it's a CDP, they should have enough good debt in there to repay that down anyway. So
I always still think companies like this, if somebody's gone and just stolen like 160 million from you, I'd want to hire them for a job and like help them fix whatever the hell they've just exploited.
Oh, 100%.
I think a lot of that does happen, Dan. I think huge. I mean, it's the way to go, actually. And that's why you get white hat hackers. They basically go and exploit, and then we'll give you your money back, but then you must give us money in return. And then what happens from that point onwards is that they get hired, they get appointed. It's, if you want to make it from that perspective, go and hack someone, and then you can leverage off that. I mean, I don't recommend it. This is not hacking advice for what it's worth, guys. Just don't do that. Yeah, there we go. I mean, bounties are big things in the space.
All right.
I don't know why they don't just offer a ridiculous bounty, at all points.
I don't mean to interrupt, but if you look at the guy's wallet, somebody's just sent a message to the hacker. It says, FBI tracking your wallet now, please return it, ! This is why you have to love the
return
blockchain.
to this address. Yeah, I don't know. Did you see what happened with GLP as well? GMX?
So just, can you run us through that? I found that quite fascinating. Do you understand the mechanics of that? It happened on Avalanche, right?
Yeah. So you can kind of tell something was up by the actual price action on Avalanche, because GMX offers 0 slippage in your trades. And the cap on effectively longs and shorts on AVAX itself didn't take that much to actually move the price on an off-chain exchange. And then you could kind of, I wouldn't even call it an exploit. It's just someone being really smart. It's if they can manipulate the price on a centralized exchange where it's obviously feeding back from the Oracle prices, feeding back into GMX, and they get no slippage on GMX platform. They just played that to their advantage and effectively drained a couple $100,000 out of the GLP pool. Because effectively all that GLP pool is, the liquidity pool, is just effectively taking the opposite side of anyone using the platform, which usually works because people are shit at trading. So that's why GLP is so profitable. But these guys, or this person, found a small exploit. But there's very simple fixes, which I'm sure GMX will just implement. It's if anything, it was kind of not a nothing burger, but probably just push them to do some of the updates that they needed to push out in the first place. So probably a good kind of FUD buy for people as well. But apparently the account that did it, just let me see if I can find it, because I think he gave everything back to the market within 12
Did he?
hours.
Oh, wow.
Is that because he lost it or what?
Yes, he lost it. Must have.
Yeah.
He decided to quadruple down and lose it all, maybe.
Dude, if you've just made 500k in a day, mate, you go and have a couple of points.
I found the tweet, but yeah, effectively, I think he was down even worse than how much he'd effectively made from doing that. So,
Wow.
But that strategy and that mechanism to actually do that was brought up on a podcast. I can't remember who brought it up. It might have been on Empire. It might not have been on Empire. Empire's a good podcast anyway, so people should listen to it. But it's something that I think one of the many GMX folks that are out there now have kind of implemented it, and they're using that as their main USP. It's it's a bit ridiculous, but I think they'll just go and implement it. And we included in the newsletter as well that I think GMX are going to go for a similar sort of license to what Uniswap did for V3, just to kind of prevent this dilution of their product that they kind of invented. So it gives them a couple of years to build this moat around it. And I think if it gets passed, which I think it will, it's going to only be a good thing. And if anyone wants to actually kind of fork that code, it has to go through a licensing agreement, and they can kind of choose to do it or not. You know what I mean? So you haven't really seen concentrated liquidity UniV3 forks anywhere. I mean, pretty sure there was one that spun up on BSC, which is a little bit illegal, but
it's BSC, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Just on the topic of Curve, is there a reason why Curve haven't set up pools on Binance?
Have they not?
I don't know. Have they?
No.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Is
I
it
mean,
too
these are all-
centralized for them? Maybe it's too
Possibly.
centralized.
With the TVL that Curve gets, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're probably Ethereum maximum. Like, because BSC got completely shit on, and you know, there's some reasons for that and some reasons kind of against it. And I think people got really snobbish about it whilst we were
Yeah.
all over there making like stupid money.
Yeah.
So it was like another case of, do you want to be right or do you want to make some money? I
Correct.
know there's a few people that said they missed out because they didn't really trust it, but it's Binance.
I mean, you could argue that the home of the ultimate shitcoin market was originally BSC. You know, and it was messy. You know, like when you had a DEX called PooCoin, for goodness sakes. You know, like that's just only in crypto do you get that kind of level of ridiculousness. But it thrived. It still thrives. You know, you can hate it, but people want to gamble, and it's been a great platform from that perspective. Yeah, I wonder if there is a market for protocols that could replicate what Curve does in the Binance on the Binance chain.
Well, you've got Wombat Exchange, which we did an article on recently. That doing something. This like really low slippage. I mean, it's a platypus licensed
Correct.
platypus fork, so similar to like a hummus. But I think these guys have bigger ambitions for a more like cross-chain world, even though they have been through Binance Incubator and things like that. We did have a conversation. It's probably on our YouTube actually.
I love and I hate the name, all in one. Wombat.
Oh, I love it because you've got the Wombadeer, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine that putting that on your LinkedIn profile, like chief operating Wombadeer?
You know what the beta play to this is? It's like have a look who's going to be built on top of it. I did put you in a message with the people who are building on top of this the other day, Jerry. So make sure you follow.
Well, this is why I've brought it up, and that's why I'm interrogating it, because I'm genuinely interested in terms of what their proposal is, and essentially, you know, their idea is that they want to create a curve-like structure on the Binance chain, obviously building on Wombat. So that's why I was asking. I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no slippage there.
That's BUSD to Tether, getting like 0.998 for 10 million, which isn't bad.
Yeah, it's good. It's even better on USDC, isn't it? No, that doesn't look right.
I was going to say
extra
one more
zero and it loses. Look, you put one more zero and it loses the plot. They obviously don't have that. That's why.
Yeah, 100 million. Yeah, but 10 million swap, you're getting 0.998548. So not bad, but it could be better.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like I said, ladies
you
and
see
gentlemen.
Sifu's back?
Yeah, I saw that, and he's been appointed to run things at Wonderland. I saw that notice. I mean, only in crypto.
What? He's back at Wonderland, is he?
Yeah, dude, check it out. There was an announcement. Well, it's going to vote. It's going to vote. I saw something, and Danny's stepping away. There we go. Go to the Wonderland money one. Yeah, there we go. And Danny's stepping away just to work on Popsicle and Abracadabra, and will no longer be involved in Wonderland.
I love how Sifu just fucking. It doesn't take any shit, does it?
I'd love to get
But
him
no,
on the show.
I know I'm pushing for it because the chain checkers brought this up the other day.
The chain checkers. Dan's one of them, isn't he?
Yeah.
So this would be a Sifu project. I love that image, actually. It's really cool.
So yeah, like chain checkers did their thing. This got released, and then it was like it shouldn't have been released. There's only 0.01% of the supply on the market, so price is like drastically higher than it should be at launch. But where's he at? That little fucker, Sifu. Did post something the other day, and yeah, so he posted the GitHub. So I was looking at the GitHub as if I know what I'm fucking reading, but I don't have a clue. So what it kind of looks like is Aave Protocol v2. So lending and borrowing mixed with fallback oracle, MISC, spell price getter, leverager, curve fair price getter. So it looks like
an abracadabra. Wow.
It looks like an abracadabra fork, but then you have a look at the staking, and then it's staking rewards, multi-fee distribution. There was something else. So it looks like an abracadabra,
yes,
with token locks, if that makes sense. So like
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what that looks like.
So we
I mean,
we
if
really
they had liquidity, I'll buy some.
Dude, we're getting into the PR stuff of crypto today. Wow, that's the second PR. That's really interesting, and obviously Sifu's involved in that. Wow, it's just never a dull moment, is there? I mean, how could you possibly be bored in this crazy space?
So do you think that'll moonshoot then?
What's that?
Do you think
No,
that'll moonshoot
I don't.
then?
Dude, it's impossible. It's impossible to make that call. It's only if the value proposition that's being put forward hits all the right or ticks all the right boxes. You know, I mean, you heard Grant now. He's like, if it's got this and if it's got that, I'm buying. So maybe, you know, maybe Grant's not the only one thinking like that. And to answer your question, then yes, it will moonshoot. But are you going to take that gamble?
No, not with him.
I mean, I think
if I had 8 figs, I would.
Like.
If I had 8 figs, I would. Based on this conversation, I would definitely place a bet. Absolutely.
I think that
not
token
financial
price will
advice,
probably converge to.
Definitely not financial advice.
Token
That's
price will
definitely
probably converge to zero.
That's definitely a DJ in communication. So do not do that if you have 8 figs. But if you got 8 figs, you know exactly what you're doing. So don't listen to me anyways.
If you do it with 8 figs, just make sure it's like the block after when I've bought.
I'm not saying investing 8 figs in it, but if I had an 8 figs freaking bankroll, I would definitely make a bet.
Because that is just a shitcoin chart right there.
No, that is the king of shitcoin charts.
Yeah, I mean the liquidity and token, like a lot of tokens have been sent to like that Sablia or whatever it's called. So it looks like they're not ready to launch yet, and people have just seen Sifu make a transaction online and just fucking bought whatever contract address it was, and that's what kind of happened. But I think in the Discord they said the token price at listing should be around $10. So. So like people have just seen this and immediately, but I think with that kind of tokenomic structure, it'll probably look something similar to Blizz or Geist anyway, with more kind of exotic assets to borrow against. And with Wonderland and that announcement, I can imagine like Wrap Memo and borrow against that and shit like that. So I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be one to good a good one to hold just like naked, just in a wallet. There's probably like the best thing to do there is Sifu's that to make money, so just follow what he does.
Correct.
Like don't like he's obviously came up with this design. He's obviously came up with the design for one reason. there's probably not a product on the market that he wants to make money from, so he's going to build one himself to extract money from, similar to what Andre did a lot of the time. So
interesting. That's some good alpha.
don't back
I
up.
just wanted to just something obviously from our kind of like perspective on the market. I'm glad, by the way, that we didn't actually discuss the market, and I don't really want to discuss it because I think everyone knows what's going on in the market at the moment. It's just mass confusion, and that's all I want to say about it. Thank you very much. We're on the right track. So I wanted to chat about this. Grant always one step ahead. You know, we've got Hero as a sponsor. You know, we don't take on sponsors because they put a whole lot of money on the table. That's not how we work. We want to be promoting, in inverted commas, projects that, you know, tick all the boxes for us, that essentially will tweak someone like Dan's nipples in the appropriate way. And this project definitely does that. You know, this is like, you know, if you want a comparative, GMX is my comparative around this. And in many ways, you could say that Hero are doing more than that. You know, they're creating a network that will allow for the likes of the GMXs, liquidity providers, you know, perps protocols to come in and do, you know, the degen stuff that happens in the TradFi world. You know, we've been saying it for ages. Crypto needs to emulate what's going on in the TradFi space, and they need to do it better. And that's what these boys are going to do. Price has been going up. This thing is evaluated at 80 million or something. What's the current price at the moment? It's like, I mean, the evaluation, it's a joke. You know, you look for alpha in the space. You want alpha in the space. This is it. This is the alpha. 97 million. It was 20 million. It was 77 million when we started with, you know, our articles and what we've done. It's gone up 20 million. It's seen a good increase in price, and this is where. And it's not easy to buy it at the moment. So I've just actually finished writing a guide on how to buy, which will launch and quite soon. And Hero are doing a whole lot of announcements in the coming week. Get on their Discord.
There might be something today as well.
Here's one for you, because people might not really understand what Hero is, even though we do laugh on about it quite a lot. Jerry, I want your best 3 reasons why somebody who doesn't know what the fudge sticks this is should start DYORing this.
I think it comes down to the real life TradFi application to trading. You know, it's like derivatives, perps, parimutuels. You know, that's always been like the basis for trade. In the real space. And the real space, I mean TradFi. And what these boys are doing is that they're taking all of those principles, all of those mechanics, and they're putting them on chain. And it's not just going to be about trading instruments. It's going to be about sports betting. There's a whole lot of the degen stuff, man. The degen stuff that people love to get involved in. They are building the network and the platform which will allow for that kind of stuff to happen. It's the next step. You know, the whole Ponzi thing, all of that stuff, it's not sustainable. You know what I mean? It's like people want to earn fees. These guys, they're going to give you 50% of the fees that are going to be generated off this platform. And those are the reasons why I'm bullish on this. Yeah.
Yeah, off of every single derivatives product. Because everything is a derivatives product in a sense, where anything that you're taking a bet on, whether that be England to win the World Cup, whether Hero's about to go to $8, whether you want to buy a call, you want to buy a put, you want to take out insurance on an exotic stable coin, or anything in this market. Like, I think there's 2 sides of it. It's like that bell curve meme where it's like, yeah, it's a bet on the left, and then the people on the right are like, yeah, it's a bet, and then the person in the middle is like doing all the fucking TSR shit. It's everything is just a bet, a calculated decision based on probable outcomes. So any kind of product that can be built on top of the network, options, futures, perps, sports prediction markets, absolute the world, like anything that can, any market that you can say there's a believer versus an unbeliever and they want to wager it, will all have unified liquidity on Hero, which will be USDC. And then every single interaction has a transaction fee, and then 50% of that transaction fee gets distributed to Hero stakers in dollars every single day. So it's just
USDC.
the biggest.
Yeah.
It's just the biggest, most obvious bet on the market, in my opinion.
Essentially, what you're doing is, on a philosophical level and obviously on a practical level, is you placing a bet on human nature. That's the way I see it. Human nature is to want to bet on things. That's what we do. We're always placing bets with our children, with our spouses, with our friends. I bet you. I bet you. I bet you. That's why these protocols do so well.
done so well. Like GLP's done so well. It's because it's it gets 70% of the fees on GMX from trading, liquidation, swaps, and all that kind of shit. It gets distributed back to the liquidity providers. So here you're gonna get 50%, and then the other gets split between a few different parties and things like that. But that's GMX is amazing. It's one of my largest holdings, but that's just that'll just be one of the single products that will be available on Hero. Then you've kind of got to think, well, what's have a look at one of the largest options protocols, see the volume that comes in from that. Options have got a ridiculous amount of room to grow in the space anyway. So if you've got people who have 50 years experience between them in the actual options markets, running the show on chain now,
market making, trading, running a book. These are the boys that are running this thing.
That was literally what I was going to say. I would say, right, my 3 ways of making what you guys just said sound absolutely sexy as fuck would be the 2 guys running it. They've got over 50 years of experience in the real markets, not just the crypto markets. You got old Sammy B from FTX was giving them money. He was like, look, he's got all this money to go and invest in you, bro. Got all this money. And they're like, no, it's too much. There's too much, but keep it coming. Please. Plus, they're going to be offering a lot of stuff as well.
The thing is that it's got all the right ingredients. It's kind of like the recipe is there, the ingredients are on the table, and obviously, it needs to be cooked up. But it's being cooked up, and it's
cooking.
It looks great. I mean, if you go and do the research on this thing, it's like all the things that you would look for are there. They're all there. There really isn't anything that isn't there.
Right.
That's solid.
Right. Let's do something a little bit unorthodox. What is shit about it?
I think what shit about it for me is, and it's been a concern of mine for a while, is that the market is really, really tight at the moment. And I mean, it's kind of like an argument, and it's a for and an against argument. It's a shitty market. If you trade options, you can really make money in a market like this. But the problem is that we don't actually have enough of the apes out there that know how to trade effectively, which I think is the biggest challenge for this protocol, is to educate accordingly so that people can take advantage of the kind of market that it is, the irony of it. So the shitty market isn't going to attract as many people in initially, and I think that's the biggest challenge. So it's not actually the protocol itself that I'm identifying as being shit. I think the market conditions are what are at this protocol's disadvantage at this juncture right now, from an immediacy point of view. I can't really think of anything that's shit about it from a practical perspective, like what is wrong with this thing. I don't know. Hey, Grant, I'd love to hear what you think on that.
That this on the screens now, that's just my thesis. I think there's a kind of misconception of what's happening on Solana with regards to DeFi. Yeah. 2, the liquidity is a little bit fragmented at the minute, but that's getting resolved. That's it, I think. I can't really think of anything else, to be honest.
Dan, anything that you can think of?
Yeah, I was gonna say it just needs to be made. It just needs to be made super sexy and super simple. Because when you're talking about like 3D, 2D options and exotic stables and this, that, and the other, like someone like myself who's not come from any kind of that background, think, Jesus Christ, it's complex. So what do I do? All I need to know is, sorry, go on.
It's if that's like too much and you can't be asked and you just want number go up, you can get exposed to absolutely everything that you don't understand by just buying the token and staking it.
That's the
Problem solved. It's a very good point. But Grant, you hit probably the biggest problem at the moment, in inverted commas, is the fact that the narrative around Solana is really, it's not a great narrative, and I think the ETH maxis have done a superb job of dragging that downtime that Solana had so exquisitely through the mud. Like they've just done the best job. I think Bitcoin maxis have a lot to learn from Ethereum maxis from that perspective.
So here's one. Why don't Ethereum maxis kick up a fuss when Harmony or Seller or someone like that goes down?
Because they've never heard of it.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's a fair comment.
it's because they know it's not a threat.
Yeah, touche.
It's Solana just completely rattled everyone. And what I hope we can kind of do on, like, in all our kind of content, these podcasts and things like that, it's have a platform for kind of discussion that isn't kind of chain agnostic, isn't kind of maximalist. We should be looking back in like a year and just taking the piss out of ourselves for like some of the predictions. You know what I mean? You have to be wrong. Like if someone who thinks they're right at all points.
I love the fact that you asked the question, like, what is wrong with this? Because it's important to be able to do that and to remind ourselves with everything. It's kind of like when you're about to make an investment, probably the single most important thing that you need to be doing in that research is what is actually wrong with this thing? How can things go completely tits up? And we don't do that enough. We really don't, because we love to get caught up in how right we want to be. And it's a good exercise, and we need to remind ourselves to be very critical of everything. Sponsors, non-sponsors, maxis, non-maxis. It's a good way to go. So a commitment on air to do that.
This would be a big one to potentially finish on, and maybe to move on to another podcast, is Aptos. Will it be the Solana killer? Will it be Solana 2.0? And where is Sam going to end up putting his bags? Into Solana or go balls deep into Aptos? That, ladies and gentlemen, is a bombshell.
Maybe we should do a little bit of digging. If you bump into anyone at the conference who's
Aptos.
Yeah, get the details, because
I mean, you brought it up.
Going on over there.
Yeah, I don't have a clue, because you brought it up in the newsletter. Obviously, I then paid attention, and I am interested. I just haven't had a chance to get into it. So definitely for the next one, something to look into. Cool, guys. Thank you.
Okay. Right. Enjoy London, gents. Don't do anything. I
definitely won't. Yeah.
I mean, there isn't that much that I wouldn't, to be honest.
Take care, all. Yeah. Take care out there.
See ya. Bye.